Yeah, you made it lock in. Court lights flicker, I'm feeling that tip-off fever. NBA dreams spin tight like a crossover sleeper. Fourth and inches in the cold, crowd breathing like smoke. NFL grit in my voice when the pressure get woke. Engine scream through the night, that F1 razor. Lines cut clean, turn sharp like a hometown savior. NASCAR drift in my blood when the pace gets wild. I talk speed like a veteran, move calm like a smile. Legends born out of sweat, out of heartbreaks echo. I break plays down smooth, call the game like a maestro. Every lane that we touch, every story we show, this is where the truth runs. The Not Bland Show. Fast, break, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch the moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with a champion's glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Bland Show.
Lock in.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Not Bland Show, and it is the NFL Divisional Round version of the Not Bland Show, and this is brought to you by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's off season, but we're still going to get busy and continue to get people involved in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. This will be your 30-minute breakdown of the NFL, and we'll get to it right after the break.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. And it starts off Saturday at 4:30 p.m. It will be the Buffalo Bills against the Denver Broncos. And the Buffalo Bills have been playing hero ball. This man here, Josh Allen, putting the team on his back, putting his body on the line for his football team. And they're going against a defense here that has been really good when it comes down to pressure rate of opposing teams' quarterbacks. When you look at what they have done, their pressure rate, second highest in the league, 40.7%. It is the fourth highest in the league when it comes down to sacks. They're sacking people 23.9%. And resulting in a 46% completion percentage when quarterbacks are under pressure. Josh Allen, well, he's been sacked about 24.5% of those pressures, dropbacks. That's fifth highest in the league. He's also 60% though, 65% when it comes down to passes under 10 yards. And his target that he loves to get to is Shakir. Shakir does an excellent job of really shaking himself open and getting an opportunity to basically give his quarterback a really nice target and get that yak. And he's done a really good job of getting the yak on 78 targets of less than 10 yards. He's caught 66 of those for 564 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns with that particular stat. And they're going to need all of that, to be honest with you. Broncos have been proven to be an excellent defense, and this defense run by Sean Payton has really done an excellent job of preventing that yak. They're about 55.5% total reception yards, yards after catch. That is the sixth highest in the league, or least in the league. So they do an excellent job of really containing guys and not allowing too much yak. They also do a great job of playing the run, which is something that outside of Josh Allen having to do all of the heavy lifting, There's going to need to be a part of that. There's going to be another part to that, and Cook is going to have to be that guy to really establish the run, and they're going to have their offensive line playing great football. One thing about this team, they are very, very much gap sound. They do not do too many things, although them being aggressive, they do not do too many things to get themselves out of position, to give any leeway for giving easy running lanes. And Nick Benito is a beast. And they're going to have to find a way to contain this man. He's had 80 pressures generated this year, tied for fourth most in the NFL in 2025 season, posting a 20.2% pressure rate. So they're going to have to make sure that they're playing sound football in the Mile High City. One thing, though, about the Denver Broncos offense, however, is inconsistencies. They show flashes of greatness. Bo Nix can make plays, off-schedule plays quite well, but they're not necessarily putting together a full package, a full 4 quarters of football. And that's going to need to be done against a team that has done pretty decent defensively when their offense gives them rest. And that's for any team, right? So who do I think is going to be the factor, the one to win this thing? I think for once in a lifetime, we have seen a lot of number 1 seeds that have had a week off not come out and be that tenacious and that sharp. They're usually rusty. And you're going against a team that just came off a pretty high and intense game last week in the wild card round. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Denver Broncos because I believe in their defense. And also, I believe in the man, the myth, the legend, J. Cole, and we know as Sean Payton. One thing about Sean, he's going to have this team prepared. They're going to be very much prepared for this. And being at home, that crowd's going to be raucous. And with Josh Allen having to do everything, you might see a lot of this. We hope not, but it doesn't bode well for a guy to put the whole team on his back and have to carry them in the way that he did last week. He's not going to be able to do that 2 weeks in a row. I hope he's got a real good cold tub if he's going to be doing that this week. But I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos in a close one. It is a 1.5 point favorite for the Buffalo Bills, so it's basically even. But I'm going with the Denver Broncos there. Your 8 o'clock deal on, I think this is an NBC game? A Fox game. So San Francisco and the Seattle Seahawks. San Francisco will be traveling to Seattle. They are a favorite, 7-point favorite over the Seattle Seahawks at home. I say it's even. I say anything 7 below is even. I don't believe that that's much of a favorite and it's going to make much of a factor here because really it's all going to boil down to a few things. Both offenses, and I'm not even looking at the defenses, I think it's going to come down to whose offense can be more consistent and can turn more drives into points. Because both of these defenses have weaknesses. We've seen that throughout the season, as we've talked about all season long and coming into these playoffs. There's really no dominant team. There's no juggernaut that, oh, I'm going to Seattle. I'm a little scared because, they're a juggernaut. No, not either one of these number 1 seeds are scary at all. They have good parts and pieces and things that we have seen that they have done well, but nothing of the unordinary that would cause us for alarm. First off, this man, Christian McCaffrey, has to be the focal point of this offense. It's all about getting him going, and I'm not talking about just necessarily in the run game. I'm talking about being involved in all facets, creating mismatches, something that Kyle Shanahan is really good at doing, creating mismatches and getting his guys that are speedsters out in space. That's going to be important. They're going to have to find ways to get these young tight ends involved as George Kittle is out, Achilles injury, and it does make a difference. When you look at the statistics, since Brock Purdy has been drafted in 2022, the 49ers with George Kittle are 43-20-21. That's a 67-2 percentage game winning percentage there. Without him, they're 5-6, 45% winning percentage. So it is going to be missed. How is Kyle Shanahan, though, going to make up for that loss? I think you're going to have individuals like Kyle Juszczyk to get involved within the offense and be a factor. You got to get the young tight ends that really stepped up in last week's game involved in what's going on out there. And it's going to be all about keeping Brock Purdy comfortable. Seahawks have shown, like other defenses, that they can be dominant, but they also have shown that they give up a lot of points at times. Haven't always put together the complete game. And one thing's for certain, a hot football team such as the 49ers can be difficult because they have already had a game. They're in rhythm, and they've had some time, about 2 weeks, to kind of see where your weaknesses are. And Kyle Shanahan is usually pretty good at coming off of games and really scheming up something that can really throw a defense off. They're going to have to score points, though. When you look at the offense of the Seattle Seahawks, it really is hinged on one man, and that's Sam Darnold. Can you not turn the football over? And how are they going to get Jackson Smith and Jigma the ball and get him the ball consistently? Because he's like tops of the league. I think he's number one in the amount of not just catches, but yards. And I think this hasn't been done since like Jerry Rice. So he's had great days. He's had some plays, and a lot of the plays that you see him make, they're not necessarily the explosive type. They're more of the 10-yard variety where he just catches the ball in space and is able to make a guy miss and make plays. And that's where what we saw from the 49ers last week is going to have to translate this week on defense. I thought something that they did last week very well with those linebackers not only played well in a lot of the coverages and the zone underneath coverages that they had, but they also were able to come up and they made the tackles instantly. There weren't too many missed tackles. There wasn't too much yards after catch. And that really helped them. And that helped kind of slow that Eagles offense down. And they're going to have to do the same thing here. Seattle has two great running backs in Walker and I like to call him Chardonnay, the wine man. They have two great running backs. They use them well. They are not just guys that just run out of the backfield. They're very much capable of being used as some type of mismatch ploy in the passing game as well. And if they get loose, they can take it to the house. So it's going to be very important for the 49ers to play sound football. I personally don't think this is not your Russell Wilson's, Seattle Seahawks. This is the 12th man. Will it be a factor? Maybe. But I expect Kyle to do a pretty good job of trying to take that 12th man away and making it about the X's and O's on the football field. Just can't make the mistakes. No false starts. No third and longs consistently. And I would say against this Mike Macdonald defense, you probably don't want to turn the football over too many times. When they do get a lot of turnovers, they usually have very much success, and they usually are the winners. There are some advantages. The pressure rate goes to, the Seattle Seahawks when it comes down to Seahawks offense versus the defense, they handle pressure pretty well. They also handle pressure pretty well when it comes down to offense versus their defense versus the 49ers offense. So in a lot of these categories, whether it's overall rushing efficiency or passing efficiency, Seahawks are on top, with the exception of the overall rushing efficiency versus the 49ers defense and their offense. But they own everything else. Who do I think is going to win? I have to go with the Shanahan. I've been there, done that. He's been in this situation before. Mike McDonald, this is his first time. And I think with this game, it's not going to be so much about how many points people score as much as what are the situational coaching situations and how do these coaches handle those situational football. That's what's going to be the X factor in all of this. And you have to give the nod to Kyle Shanahan. He's been here several times, understands what it takes in playoff games, understands that situational football, and that may be the factor in the reason why the 49ers win this football game. And I think, once again, we're going to have some great football games that are going to be really close and not blowouts. That's for darn sure. Not going to happen there. Let's go to Sunday. Patriots get another home game, number 2 seed. The Houston Texans are coming all the way up to New England, and 3-point favorite for the Houston Texans. It'll probably move around again. It's even. These two teams are even. I think the Patriots got away with one last week. They were facing a Chargers football team that just didn't have the consistency along the offensive line, and that made a huge difference. Made a real big difference in how they were going to be able to handle that Patriots defense. Overall, the Patriots struggled to score early, and I don't think you can do that against this Houston Texans defense. They're very opportunistic, and they will force you to turn the ball over. They do an excellent job of creating pressure, being sound, and not allowing individuals to just do whatever they want to do. And I am looking forward. I'm trying to find my pictures here. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. But one thing that the Houston Texans must clean up, that is the turnovers that they had and that C.J. Stroud had during that Pittsburgh game. That cannot happen in New England. One thing we can say about New England is that they are well coached. And I think they do a pretty good job in situational football, although they had some trouble of finishing drives and putting points on the board last week. This defense is definitely right up there with the Chargers defense, and I'd give them the nod that they are slightly better than the Chargers defense, especially up front. They can generate pressure without blitzing. And when they do, they make you pay because they're very, very sharp with kind of mixing it up. And you think the pressure's coming from one way and it comes from another way. And usually those guys, when they come through, they are coming scot-free just because of how DeMeco Ryans and that football team, how they scheme things up. I'm actually going to go with the underdog here. I think the Houston Texans can go in to Foxborough and win this thing in a all knockout, drag out fight. We thought we saw a fight last week between New England and the Los Angeles Chargers. This one's going to be even better. I think you see a low scoring football game. I think this is probably like one of your 17, 14, 21, 17 ball games here. The 3 points they talk about is the 3 points I think that will be the deciding factor. I do not see this being over. It could be under for all we know because these two defenses, and I think, like I said, Houston gets the nod on defense, are really going to decide how this thing goes. And CJ Stroud, I think, is the X factor on whether if he's consistent and can make plays down the field and not turn the football over, they can kind of gap this team a little bit early, especially if they start out sluggish like they did against the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm taking the Houston Texans in this football game to advance. Last but not least, it's your Los Angeles Rams against the Chicago Bears, the number 2 Chicago Bears. It will be in Chicago. So again, another game that is a 3.5 point deal. Bears are favored here. And it's even. Like I said, anything 7 below is even. Matthew Stafford, the guy who I believe is the MVP of this league this year, has done some really cool stuff, made some really cool and big plays, but he's also giving you some head scratchers on turnovers. He really has. And when you look at these two quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, he has 184 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 110 passer rating in the fourth quarter of wild card game. And he's been a fourth quarter comeback kid this year. Matthew Stafford, he's had 143 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's 146.0 passer rating in the fourth quarter of his wild card game versus the Panthers, Both had game-winning passing touchdowns under 2 minutes. So could we see a shootout? That is possible. And reasoning on that is the Rams defense just is questionable. They have all the big pieces to really be a defense that can really dictate to an offense how to go about business. And yet it seems so oftentimes that they're the ones getting pushed around, allowing explosive plays, secondary miscommunications. And Chicago has the same problem. They have miscommunications. They at times can seem like they can't stop the run. They at times give up explosive plays as if there's some kind of confusion on the back end of that defense. Again, both of these guys have been slinging the rock and have been really wielding their team to victory each and every week. Caleb Williams, just been phenomenal in the second quarter. But you know what the X factor is in trying to stifle the Chicago Bears? See that look? That look of frustration? It's one thing you guys saw me tweet about last week in the football game early. Caleb Williams was frustrated early. And when Caleb Williams gets frustrated, his play tailors off. He's not nearly as accurate. He's rushing through his progressions. At times, he's forcing the ball into windows or throwing dirt balls. And it took Ben Johnson a lot of time to figure out that, hey, I need to make some and call some plays that are some easy throws that's going to get my quarterback settled back down and get him into rhythm. It took them till the second half to figure that out. They were fortunate enough to be playing the Packers, who seemed to not come out of the locker room on defense in the second half of football games. Now, you do have a Rams team that does not play well on defense. But you can't keep doing that week after week. And I don't think you can do that with a team like Matt Stafford, who has Puka Nacua to throw to. You look at guys like Devontae Adams being involved in this. you cannot allow teams to be spotted 20 points and think that every time that happens that you're going to have a chance to come back. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. So who do I believe in? I really like what Sean McVay can do. And let's be honest, Ben Johnson, once again, and we saw it last week, did some real head scratcher stuff. Y'all remember the game against the Commanders as he was the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions and the head scratching play calling that began to transpire in the second half, which I believe cost him the football game. He did that in the first half of the game against the Packers. Of course, fourth quarter, like he's been doing a lot this season, Superman showed up and saved the day. But you're not going to be able to do that week after week. I'm picking the Bears, though. And here's why. Matthew Stafford has thrown some real ill-advised interceptions at the most critical time of a football game. I know it happens. You're trying to make plays. Some of those wasn't his fault. Ball gets tipped up in the air, those type of things. But he's going to force the ball into traffic, and somehow it's going to be a turnover. And I believe in Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter of a football game if he's got the ball in his hand last. I believe in Chicago, he can drive down that football field and put it in the end zone to send the Chicago Bears to the NFC Championship game. Wouldn't that be something? Bears fans might do what Philly fans do and knock over poles and start fires in the street if that happens. But I really do think that they have the ability with that quarterback and his never say die attitude to get it done. And Colston Loveland has done an excellent job of being that target for him in the most critical moments of football games. And he has made some really big plays when they needed them. And I think that combination will be what decides that football game. So if you missed it, first of all, in the first game, I'm going with Denver. Second game with the 49ers and the Seahawks, I'm going with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Your Sunday games, I'm taking the Houston Texans to beat the New England Patriots. And, of course, your last and final game of the weekend on Sunday, the Los Angeles Rams and the Chicago Bears. Your boy is taking the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams because I believe in Caleb. Appreciate those. Yep. Yeah, 5 seconds. And I try not to be. I mean, it really is. It really is. That's the deciding factor, man. It's just making sure you keep him level-headed. And if he gets frustrated, you got to call plays to get him back, settled down, and build that confidence back and get him refocused. And he was not focused in the first half of that football game. And I also blame Ben Johnson for not doing those things that they did in the second half early. Do them in the second quarter. Get your quarterback settled back down. Because when that guy is focused and he has that it where he seems to be in the zone, he dominates each and every time. Each and every time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for our NFL divisional round breakdown. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy these games this week, and may your team win. Until next time, until next Tuesday, we will have Will Smith on the show. You guys be good.
And it felt great in my voice when the pressure gets woke. Engine scream through the night. That F1 razor lines cut clean, turn sharp like a hometown savior. NASCAR drift in my blood when the pace get wild. I talk speed like a veteran, move calm like a smile. Legends born out of sweat, out of heartbreaks echo. I break plays down smooth, call the game like a maestro. Every lane that we touch, every story we show. This is where the truth runs, the not blame show. Fast lanes, fast breaks, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch a moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with the champions glow. Step into the kingdom, the not blame show. Fast lanes, fast breaks, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch a moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with the champions glow. Step into the kingdom, the not blame show.